Famous people who passed away in 1751. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Paul Dudley. He was born in September 1675 and he died in January 1751. His age was 75 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an American colonial lawyer and jurist, remembered for his work in legal reforms and scientific contributions in early Massachusetts society. Attorney General of the province of Massachusetts Bay. He was the son of colonial governor Joseph Dudley and grandson of one of the colony's founders, Thomas Dudley. He was Associate Justice of the province's highest court, the Superior Court of Judicature, from 1718 to 1745, and Chief Justice from 1745 until his death in January 1751. He was a member of the Royal Society, to whose transactions he contributed several valued papers on the natural history of New England, as well as the founder of the Dudleyan Lectures on Religion at Harvard University. Tomaso Albinoni. He was born in June 1671 and he died in January 1751. His age was 79 at the time of his death, as the reason for his death was diabetes mellitus. He was a Baroque composer, renowned for his instrumental music and operatic compositions, often hailed for his elegant and melodic style. His output includes operas, concertos, sonatas for 1 to 6 instruments, symphonias and solo cantatas. While famous in his day as an opera composer, he is known today for his instrumental music, especially his concertos. He is best remembered today for a work called Adagio in G minor, attributed to him but largely written by Romeo Gizzato, a 20th century musicologist and composer who was a cataloger of the works of Albinoni. John Harvey, 1st Earl of Bristol. He was born in August 1665 and he died in January 1751. His age was 85 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English nobleman and courtier, known for his political influence and contributions to the development of his family's estates. He was also an English Whig politician. He became one of 2 members of Parliament for the town 5 years after his father in March 1694. In October 1714, he was created 1st Earl of Bristol as a reward for his zeal in promoting the principles of the Revolution and supporting the Hanoverian succession. The principal estate owned by John Harvey was Ickworth, which his ancestors, Thomas Harvey, acquired following his marriage to Jane Drury, the sole heirs to Henry Drury. Martin Nudson. He was born in December 1713 and he died in January 1751. His age was 37 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German philosopher influential in the development of Kantian thought, remembered for bridging rationalism and empiricism. In metaphysics and ethics, he was a follower of Christian Wolff and teacher of Immanuel Kant, to whom he introduced the physics of Isaac Newton. He was also interested in natural sciences and thought physics, astronomy and mathematics, besides philosophy. The study of the doctrines of Newton introduced him to question Leibniz and Wolff's theory of pre-established harmony, defending the concept of mechanical causality in the movement of physical objects. Henri-François d'Aguesseau. He was born in November 1668 and he died in February 1751. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a prominent French statesman and legal reformer, remembered for his integrity and contributions to French law during the reign of Louis XV. He was a Chancellor of France 3 times between 1717 and 1750 and pronounced by Voltaire to be the most learned magistrate France ever possessed. He studied law under Jean Dumas, whose influence is apparent in both the legal writings and legislative work of the Chancellor. When little more than 21 years of age, he was, through his father's influence with Louis XIV, appointed one of the 3 advocates generals to the Parliament of Paris, and the eloquence and learning which he displayed in his first speech gained him a very high reputation. Albert Burgard, he was born in November 1659 and he died in February 1751. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Danish-born British military officer who contributed significantly to artillery tactics during his service in the British Army. He served at the relief of Vienna at the Battle of Grand Hungary 1685 and the Siege of Buda. In 1668 he left the Danish service on account of some injustice done him in his promotion and went to Poland as a volunteer, but he was offered a commission in the Prussian Guards, which he accepted. In Prussian army he served upon the Rhine and at the siege of Bort. In 1692 he left the Prussian army with a commission to raise a regiment for the emperor, but failing in this design, he went in April to the camp of Louis XIV before Namur. Johann Hindrikzler, he was born in January 1706 and he died in March 1751. His age was 45 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German publisher known for producing one of the most ambitious encyclopedias of the 18th century, laying groundwork for later encyclopedic works. His most important achievement was the creation of a German encyclopedia, the Great Universal Lexicon, the largest and most comprehensive German language encyclopedia developed in the 18th century. After trading as a bookseller, Zedler founded his own publishing house in 1726. It was initially based in Upper Saxony and in 1727 moved to the Publishing and Book Trade Center in Leipzig. His first major publication was an 11-volume edition of the writings of Martin Luther, published between 1729 and 1734. Ynos Paly, he was born in August 1664 and he died in March 1751. His age was 86 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Hungarian general and statesman who played a key role in suppressing uprising and supporting the Habsburg monarchy in Hungary. An accomplished military leader and diplomat at the time of Prince Eugene of Savoy, he was born in one of Hungary's richest families loyal to the House of Habsburg. Joining the Imperial Army in 1681, he rose swiftly through the ranks, demonstrating courage in battles. Notably, he played a pivotal role in Rákóczi's War of Independence, securing victories and negotiating truces with the Hungarian magnate commanding the rebel army. King Frederick I of Sweden, he was born in April 1676 and he died in April 1751. His age was 74 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was the first Swedish king of the House of Hesse, remembered for his largely ceremonial role during Sweden's transition to a parliamentary system. He was King of Sweden from 1720 until his death, having been Prince Consort of Sweden from 1718 to 1720, and was also Landgrave of Hesse Castle from 1730. He ascended the throne following the death of his brother-in-law, absolutist Charles XII, in the Great Northern War, and the abdication of his wife, Charles' sister, and successor Ulrica Eleonora after she had to relinquish most powers to the Riksdag of the Estates and thus chose to abdicate. Thomas Coram, he was born in 1668 and he died in March 1751. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English sea captain and philanthropist who created London Foundling Hospital in Lamb's Conduit Fields, Bloomsbury, to look after abandoned children on the streets of London. It is said to be the world's first incorporated charity. Indeed, he is described as of Boston, sometimes residing in Taunton, and he seems to have been a shipwright. He gave some books to form a library at St. Thomas Church, one of which, a book of common prayer given to him by Speaker Onslow, is preserved in the church. During the War of the Spanish Succession, he commanded a merchant ship and acquired the epithet of captain. Frederick, Prince of Wales, he was born in January 1707 and he died in March 1751. His age was 44 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was lung injury. He was the eldest son of George II, remembered as a patron of the arts and a popular figure, who predeceased his father, leaving the throne to his son George III under the Act of Settlement passed by the English Parliament in 1701. Frederick was fourth in the line of succession to the British throne at birth after his great-grandmother Sophia, Dowager Electress of Hanover, his grandfather George, Prince Elector of Hanover, and his father George. The Elector ascended the British throne in 1714 after his grandfather died and his father became king in 1727. Frederick moved to Great Britain and was created Prince of Wales in 1729. Peter Lacy, he was born in October 1678 and he died in April 1751. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an Irish-born Russian general, celebrated for his military campaigns and contributions to the expansion of the Russian Empire under Peter the Great, considered one of the most successful Russian imperial commanders before Rumyantsev and Suvorov. In a military career that spanned half a century, he claimed to have participated in 31 campaigns, 81 battles, and 18 sieges. He died on his private estate in Riga, where he served as governor for many years. His first taste of land battle in Russia was the disastrous defeat at Narva during the Great Northern War. He was seriously wounded on 2 occasions, also gaining the rank of colonel in 1706. Gisela Agnes of Anal cousin. She was born in September 1722 and she died in April 1751. Her age was 28 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. She was a German noblewoman who served as a regent of Anhalt-Köthen, remembered for her effective governance and support of Pietism. She was a princess of Anhalt-Köthen by birth and by marriage, Duchess of Anhalt-Dessau. When her father died without leaving a male heir, he was succeeded as Prince of Anhalt-Köthen by her uncle Augustus Louis of Anhalt-Köthen. However, Gisela claimed her allodial title and took the case to the Reichskammergericht. Prince John Augustus of Anhalt mediated and compromise was reached. Dominic Tradas, he was born in February 1713 and he died in May 1751. His age was 38 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Spanish composer of operas, highly influential in the early development of opera seria, known for his melodic elegance and dramatic expression. All his works are thoroughly Italian in style. He was one of a group of foreign-born composers who studied in Italy and adopted the Italian style. The reason for this is that Italian opera was by far the dominant genre of opera at his time, attracting composers from all across Europe. His first work, an oratorio, Giuseppe Riconosciuto, with texts by Metastasio, was first performed in Naples in 1736. The musicologist Filippo Pedrell reported seeing the manuscript in the library of San Giacomo di Spagnoli in Rome in 1898. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.